What's up, Gator fans? It has been a while. I have been away in the mountains, but we are back and we are just 27 days away from the UF Miami game. Listen, I'm going to be with you guys all the way up until through football season. So excited. This is the month. We have made it. We're almost there. Today's video is brought to you by BetUS, and I'm really excited to tell you about them in a few minutes, but obviously we have something massive to talk about. Now, I know you guys all know this, and I'm not breaking any news, but how unfortunate is it to hear about Montrell Johnson? He did have a meniscus tear. What is being reported is that he will be day to day. He had a surgery to kind of clean up the area. We don't really know the timeline on this. I have read and heard people report day to day. I've also had some people tell me they're thinking about 6 weeks. Kind of depends on exactly how intense the tear was and what the cleanup process looked like. But I do think that it is likely he will at the very least miss the Miami game. So that's a big deal, right? Montrell Johnson was going to be running back one, RB1 this fall. I think that Florida's running game is really the position group that all of us had the most faith in and were the least concerned about what kind of product they were going to put on the field this year. Obviously, this affects Graham Mertz as well. So big impact. We're already down Trevor Etienne. He left for Georgia right after the season ended. And now we're down Johnson as well. It's hard to underscore what a big impact this is because he's a leader on this team and because he's reliable. He's one of the best players. And he's somebody who was supposed to be huge for the Gators this year and for Napier's offense. I want to talk about who UF is going to lean on in his absence and what that means for the Miami game in a moment. But first, I want to tell you a little bit about BetUS. We are partnering with BetUS for the season. And if you need a new sportsbook this year, BetUS has you covered. Right now, they have a 125% deposit bonus going on. And they have a 200% deposit bonus on crypto. So you can make money right off the bat just by signing up. We'll talk about this in a moment, but right now, Miami is a 2-point favorite, as you can see right here on their website. There hasn't been any line movement since the injury was announced, but if the line does move at all, be ready to pounce on it. I know what sportsbook I'm using this year, and I hope all of you degenerates will join me over there for BetUS. Okay, so who is UF going to lean on when Montrell Johnson is gone? We do have some options here, right? First of all, Webb. Last season, he had 26 carries for 163 yards and 2 touchdowns. So most of that came against McNeese State and Vandy. He didn't play against Georgia, I believe because of an injury. But young guy, hungry, incredibly talented. He is someone the Gators will look to rely on in Johnson's absence. They also have Jacoby Jackson. He had a really nice spring, and a lot of folks around the UF program really love his ability. Talk about the type of player that he could be in the right situation. And then you guys know the name we've been hyping since the spring. Jaden Baugh is really, really exciting player to watch. He had an incredible spring. I think a lot of us walked away from the spring game just kind of blown away that this guy is an incoming freshman. At that point, he should have been getting ready to celebrate his senior prom, but instead he was tearing up the field at the orange and blue game. I really think this true freshman could be a good one for the Gators. I think he could be special. I would have thought his opportunity would have come a little bit later in the season, but as of right now, it looks like he is going to have an opportunity to kind of have his moment right at the very beginning of the year in Montrell Johnson's absence. Also, don't forget about Kanan Daniels. He's the other true freshman that we were all very excited about getting onto campus. He was Mr. Football for the state of Mississippi, really strong, fast running back. So he and Bao could be a really nice 1-2 complement to each other. Again, like I said, Webb is somebody who has some experience, so he would be a guy that should get the ball in Johnson's absence. But I'm not sure that we expected any of these true freshmen, or Webb to really have to make such a massive impact right at the start of the season. But with Johnson down for at least likely the rest of fall camp, they are going to get way more reps than they would have seen otherwise. Now, the big question: does it change the way I see the game going down if Johnson can't play against the Hurricanes? Montrell is a huge loss. There is absolutely no sugarcoating that. He is one of the best players on UF's roster. I think he is a true difference maker. I think he is a leader on the field, and he's one of our most experienced guys out there. However, I am absolutely not ready to say that him potentially not being there is going to change the result. First of all, as you can already tell, having listened to this video, I really like UF's running back room. There is a lot of talent there. Now, it's raw talent and it's young talent, but it's there. There is a lot of talent in that room. Next, the running game still really comes down to the offensive line more than anything else to me. Can UF's O-line handle a really good Miami front seven? If so, I think UF will be able to move the ball fine on the ground, regardless of who's carrying. But if the offensive line can't, I don't really know that I think Johnson would have been able to overcompensate for that. The two biggest factors in this game to me are, one, which quarterback plays better, and two, which secondary is better. I really kind of think UF has the advantage in both aspects. Ward is hyped. And listen, maybe if the game were later in the year when he had more experience at the helm of Miami's offense and the game wasn't in the swamp, maybe I would view it differently. But I am just not buying him lighting up UF in an environment that is going to be like nothing he has ever seen before. Next, I think UF's secondary is better, and that's going to be a huge key to finding success for UF against Ward and Miami. What are your thoughts? Obviously, this is very sad news with Johnson being banged up, but the great news is it won't be season long or anything like that. We don't love to see injuries ever. We hope he recovers incredibly quickly, but I am not super concerned with the news, and maybe that's the optimist in me saying that, it's going to be okay, but he's going to be super fresh for the very tough middle to end of the season stretches that UF has. So, I don't think this is the worst thing that could have happened, but we do wish him an absolutely speedy recovery. And again, I appreciate BetUS for their support. We'll talk soon, guys. Go Gators.